So you can accept that.
I've chosen to live with it.
Yeah. And now, not forever, but just in this moment, can you imagine, I'm going to go with a very small, let's say 0.5%, but visualize that. And now begin to feel that as it slowly begins to dissolve, as it slowly begins to fade away.
Maybe loosen its grip,
Yeah.
rather than fade away.
It's loosening its grip on your mind. And feel that looseness, almost like a noose that is slightly loosened. There we go.
Not quite a noose, but
There you go. No, I can see. Okay, now if you look at his body, he's a little bit lighter. You may not feel it that much, but you are. You are just a little bit. There was a moment of release.
okay.
And this is something that is compounded over time, by the way. It is not something that happens necessarily expertly today or tomorrow, but it is something that if you welcome any emotion, and then you can give yourself whatever visual you need to let go, it'll get better. Let's give him a round of applause. So this is the technique. Now, all of us probably are feeling different emotions at this moment. So what I'm going to ask you to do, and this is where oneness comes in, I'm going to ask you all to close your eyes just for a moment, not forever, just now. And now I want you to imagine whatever you're thinking now. And as you start to get in touch with any particular emotion, I want you to signify that emotion in your mind. And we're going to try a little experiment. I want everybody at the same moment to do a couple ohms with me. Everybody's familiar with Om. It's the sound most people make when they meditate. It is Om. And in this moment, let's all do together 1 or 2 ohms. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Om. One more. Now, I'm going to ask everybody to take either their right or their left hand, whichever you are, the opposite hand. If you're right-handed, use your left. And I want you to feel on your neck your pulse. And now, let's do this. Using the opposite hand, would you tap out your pulse on your leg? Everybody together, please. Notice, we're starting to sync. Some of us are not, but a lot of us are. And what that means is there is an element of oneness. We are actually in the same situation on one level. We're all driving around different meat puppets, but we're all together in one sense. And so, again, close your eyes. And is there anybody here that does not have an emotion right now in mind? Just by, okay, so we all have something. And now, I want you to ask yourself, as you close your eyes and look at this, who is looking at this emotion right now? Who is observing? And I'm going to put forth that the observer has always been there. And it's still there, observing. And try and answer that question. And is there anybody here that could give me an answer as to who is watching their emotion right now?
I said God.
God, okay,
Yes.
lovely. That's a good answer. And if we welcome the concept of God, in the Hebrew Bible they said you cannot even describe God. But if we ask past God, who is the creator of God, or what is the creator of God, is there an answer? Love. And if we could go a little deeper than love, what would be the source of love? Energy. And if it were possible to go deeper than energy, if that were possible, to go a layer lower, what would we find?
Us.
What is us?
Life.
And what is deeper than life?
Nothing.
Thank you. We have a winner. There is no answer to this. Again, close your eyes. And is there anybody here that does not have an emotion right now in mind? Just by... Okay, so we all have something. And now, I want you to ask yourself, as you close your eyes and look at this, who is looking at this emotion right now? Who is observing? And I'm going to put forth that the observer has always been there. And it's still there, observing. And try and answer that question. And is there anybody here that could give me an answer as to who is watching their emotion right now?
I said God.
God, okay,
Yes.
lovely. That's a good answer. And if we welcome the concept of God, in the Hebrew Bible they said you cannot even describe God. But if we ask past God, who is the creator of God, or what is the creator of God, is there an answer? Love. And if we could go a little deeper than love, what would be the source of love? Energy. And if it were possible to go deeper than energy, if that were possible, to go a layer lower, what would we find?
Us.
What is us?
Life.
And what is deeper than life?
Nothing.
Thank you. We have a winner. There is no answer to this. So, the consciousness, which is observing everything right now in this moment, really, we can't define the source, but we're all connected to it. And just like the waves that are hitting the rocks on the ocean, we're all part of it. And that knowingness, which is there, which is the observer, was there before you were born. It'll continue to be there. It doesn't end. It's not something we can define. It's not something that we can control. But it absolutely is. So now, let's go back to the emotion. And let's ask this. From the perspective of the observer, which is something that we cannot define, can the observer divorce itself from the notion that it has anything to do with that emotion that you're feeling? Could the observer just let go of that feeling or that emotion? Just for now, not forever. Can that observer just let go? And as it begins to let go of something that it isn't to begin with, notice that that which is you feels a little bit lighter than when we started. And this is incremental, but that just happened in about 4 or 5 minutes. There's nothing personal, absolutely nothing personal about the fact that you are feeling these emotions. It does not define you, it does not define who you are. Isn't that interesting? So, in traditional meditation, we spend hours trying to quiet the mind. It's just like trying not to think about that white polar bear. And that's why meditation traditionally is so tough. Because the mind needs something to chew on. Our minds are constantly chewing. They're always hungry. They're never not fed. There's never a point, even in your dreams, that sucker is working. But if you focus on what it's doing, which is really nothing more than your emotion, and you're able to welcome it, and if you can't welcome it, you can accept it, and then just let a little of it go, you're basically rebooting your computer. You are now taking that thing and turning it off when you just release the emotion which we are so attached to. Does anybody have any questions about any of this? Anybody want to ask a question or think that this might not work for them for some reason? Yes?
So when you were saying about the conscious observer,
Uh-huh.
being able to let go,
Uh-huh.
I don't know if anyone else felt this, but it was easy to imagine the conscious observer letting it go, but I still felt like a physical something in my body, like a sensation, yeah. So I wonder, and then I was thinking, is there a process of like transferring that?
Well, that's good. You were supposed to feel that. Was the physical sensation lighter or heavier?
No, it was just like that anxiety feeling there, just that sits there.
Okay. What, yes, of course. It isn't special to you. Yes, it's not special to you.
Yeah.
And you can welcome that. And even the desire to figure it out, you can welcome that. You can welcome the idea that you need to understand it. Because the mind always needs to understand it. The emotions are something else again.